Sometimes you gotta call out the people that are close to you. Sometimes when the people are close to you, when they're not believing, when they demonstrate that they're not really believing in the mission and what you're trying to do, sometimes you gotta call to them and say, you know what? If you only had the faith of a grain of a mustard seed, you could move mountains. Sometimes you gotta tell the people that are on your side that they gotta step up and be accountable. So that's what we are doing today as we do this march from here by the White House to the front of the White House. We're telling President Biden to pick a side, and we're also telling him that in addition to the filibuster having to end, that he needs to tell the Senate that recess can wait. They can't take a vacation while we ain't got no voting rights. They can't go home to their districts while we don't have our voting rights. They suspended their recess over the weekend, this past weekend, for infrastructure. Now, infrastructure's cute. We need infrastructure. We need bridges, right? We need roads. So I'm not going to say infrastructure ain't important. But doggone it, if you can suspend your recess for infrastructure, I know you can suspend it for our voting rights. So recess can wait, and we need President Biden to deliver that message. He's got a bully pulpit. It does us no good if you got 40 years of Senate experience and you can't whip one vote. So we need President Biden to use all of the tools he has at his disposal, all his 40 plus years of Senate experience, to get the job done. Recess can wait, end the filibuster, pick a side. That's what we're saying today. Recess can wait, end the filibuster, pick a side. So I'm going to turn it over, y'all. We got these state legislators. I'm sorry. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention this. I mentioned the state legislators, but the other message that we're delivering today, we've been delivering all week, and why many of them are here, is because we got a group, y'all, of some courageous legislators from the big old state of Texas. They say Texas does, everything's bigger in Texas, and they have demonstrated over the past 4 weeks. So they came up here to work, and now the rest of this team of legislators come out there to let them know, and we're delivering a message. We got you. We got you, Texas. And so that's why we all out here together. So we're delivering those messages to the president, but we're also delivering a message to them that we love you, and you are not alone. And so with that said, we're going to start it off with a couple of our friends from the great state of Texas. I'm going to start it off with this sister. If you haven't heard this sister yet, you in for a treat. I'm going to tell you that right now. Y'all give it up for Representative Jasmine Crockett.
Good morning, everyone. So I'm going to keep it short. But the reality is that some people walk the walk and talk the talk. Well, so first of all, I want to thank all the other legislators from the other states that walked out to come and stand with us. But I got to send some special love to my sister right here, Gina. Y'all heard Gina yesterday, and it's amazing because you said a part of this. So when we walked out the first time, I said, Gina, I don't know if they going. Gina turns to me and says, Jasmine, you just got to have faith. Don't worry about everybody else. All right now. He gonna work it out. Let me tell you, when we broke quorum that very first time, we didn't realize we had broken quorum until we were almost to the church that we were heading to. Right. We had faith. That's right. So what I'm asking these lawmakers to do is to have faith. That's right. Have faith in the Constitution that's supposed to protect each and every one of us. Not just the privileged, that's right, but everyone. That's right. I am so tired of people telling me, well, you just don't want people to have to produce an ID to vote. It's not just about voter ID. This bill is more than 40 pages long. In fact, it's almost 50 pages long. If you tell me that you need all those pages just to talk about voter ID, well, I got something to sell to you, but y'all get the point. I'm trying to tell you that this is Jim Crow. Right. And for those that say, oh, I don't see how it is, let me explain to you how close we were from flipping the House. In Texas, we needed 9 seats. We had 11 million votes that were cast. It was only 10 to 12,000 votes that kept us from flipping the House. Wow. What would that have meant? Right. That meant that everybody wouldn't have been walking around with guns this session. Right. That would have meant that they wouldn't have passed this stupid abortion bill. Right. That would have meant that we wouldn't even be having to fight a voter restriction bill right now. That's right. That's right. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to skim off the votes. That's what they've been doing. They've been eating away at it for years. Now they just decided we're just going to be a little bit more blatant about it. Well, we're going to tell y'all how racist we are. Right. But what I want those elected officials that are in power, all Democrats, to recognize is that they're targeting the very people that put you into office.
That's right. That's right.
When we are honest about it, black folk stepped up.
That's right.
Now, I ain't hating on nobody else, but I'm going to specifically say black women.
Right.
So I'm going to show love to black women. Because 95% of black women got our president into the White House. 95% of black women down in Georgia made sure that they showed up. Right. So what you need to do is honor the people that put you into power and decide that you're going to represent them. That's all we're asking for. We're not asking for anything other than what we are owed.
That's right.
And that is access to the ballot box. And so I thank you and I love you all for being here. Pick a side.
Somebody say pick a side. Pick a side. We're going to bring up next another dear brother. I'm going to bring up, met this brother a couple months ago. He's been fighting a good fight along with that whole delegation. I'm going to bring up my friend Representative Reynolds.
Thank you, Cliff. And let's give Black Voters Matter a round of applause. And all of my colleagues, not just from Texas, but from around the country. United we stand, divided we fall.
Yes.
Some of you may have known that yesterday I was arrested along with Congressman Al Green. And I was arrested and proud to be on the right side of history in the spirit of our former dear brother, Congressman John Lewis, making some good and necessary trouble. Because you all know that we're just a few days away from the 56th year anniversary of the signing of the Voting Rights Act of 1965. Y'all do know that, right?
That's right.
Do you know that before the signing of the Voting Rights Act, that people who look like me could not hold public office?
That's right.
You see, I'm the first African-American state representative where I come from in Fort Bend County since Reconstruction. And I know I stand on the shoulders of those ancestors that paved the way for me. That's right. And I will not, in the spirit of Fannie Lou Hamer, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. I'm sick and tired of seeing white supremacists who can storm the Capitol on January 6th and treat it with kid gloves. But the Black Lives Matter movement, who was peacefully protesting after the brutal death of George Floyd, we saw how they were treated. We know that racism is alive and well in this country. And this myth of voter fraud is a big lie for former President Donald Trump. And the reason why they're perpetuating this lie is because they want to have an excuse, a reason to pass voter suppression laws. So they can take us back, not to how many bubbles in a bar of soap or poll taxes and literacy tests, but they want to take away, in Georgia, giving out water. I don't understand that for the life of me. They want to take away mobile voting and 24-hour voting. And they want to empower partisan poll watchers in Texas so they can have people like the Proud Boys standing over people in black and brown communities to intimidate them and keep them from voting.
That's right.
So here we are standing. Here we are speaking truth to power, telling President Biden, who is my colleague eloquently stated, was duly elected. You go back to before South Carolina, he was dead. And it was black folks in South Carolina. It was Whip Jim Clyburn, who has already said that there should be a carve-out, a special exception for voting rights so that we can end the filibuster and pass H.R. 1, the For the People Act. Now, let me say this as I close. If we don't do this, we're going to lose the House. We're going to likely lose the Senate. And the Republicans, as already said, they don't want it bipartisan. So they don't want to be statesmen. They don't care about the black and brown people that are going to be literally disenfranchised. This is America. This is the home of the free and the land of the brave, where we tell people all over the world that we are a democracy. The fundamental of our democracy is the right to vote. And we will not allow them to go backwards to dark days in our country. So we're going to continue to fight. We're going to continue to demand, as Frederick Douglass said, that power concedes nothing without a demand. It never has and it never will. And I want you all to join me in demanding that President Biden speak out for ending the filibuster so that we can pass meaningful legislation to protect millions of black and brown people in this country. Let's continue to fight. Thank you and God bless you.
All right. Say pick a side. Pick a side. Pick a side. Pick a side. Y'all, you just heard Representative Reynolds, mention Fannie Lou Hamer, and you just heard him mention the Voting Rights Act, right? And we know that, there's a lot of states represented out here, but we are all pretty clear that we would not have gotten to the Voting Rights Act if there was no Selma.
Well,
And so we could not be out here talking about voting rights and not have somebody from the state of Alabama give y'all a word. So I'm so excited to bring up State Representative A.J. McCampbell representing Alabama.
Good morning. Good morning. Y'all know I'm from the country. And when you're from the country, and I want y'all to get this.
All right, tell us now.
Y'all see these here? They're overalls. My ancestors wore these as they began to work.
that's right.
I had an uncle that was a builder. His name was Will Nolden. And he wore these overalls so that he could go and build something. He had a little spot over here. Wait, right here. For his hammer. What he did, he said when I had a problem, I'd pull my hammer and I'd hammer out the situation. He had a spot over here for his ruler. He said when everything wasn't right, I need to pull out my ruler so I could measure what was going wrong and get it in the right place.
All right, now.
But y'all know what?
What else?
He had a pencil.
Okay, all right.
And he said, and y'all watch this, hold this.
All right, now teach now. All right.
Every now and then, you have to pull out your pencil and draw a line. When you draw the line, President Biden, you got to pick a side because we're drawing the line. It's either the filibuster or it's going to be our voting rights. President Biden, draw the line.
All right. Draw the line. We drawing a line today, y'all. We drawing a line today, y'all. And after we draw that line, what we got to say? Pick a side. After we draw that line, what we got to say? Pick a side. Y'all see on this bus, we got the Freedom Ride right on that bus. Many of y'all, some of y'all out here were with us on that Freedom Ride. And I always tell people a lot of states play a big part in that Freedom Ride, but you can't talk about the Freedom Ride and not talk about the great state of Tennessee. That's right. And so I'm so glad that we got right here representing that state, Representative London Lamar. Take it away, sis.
What's up, DC? Recess can wait. Recess can wait. Amen. Amen. I'm State Representative London Lamar, and I'm here today with Senator Brenda Gilmore, and we're from the great state of Tennessee. We serve as 1 and 2 of 6 black women total in the Tennessee General Assembly, and I serve as the youngest woman in the Tennessee General Assembly. Now, I just can't understand how we got a Democratic president and a democratically controlled Congress, and we still in 2021 standing out here begging them to give us voting rights in 2021. Millions of people went to the polls. Millions of black people went to the polls and stood in line to change the leadership of this country, expecting our president and Congress to be courageous and do the right thing. See, it's funny because we live in a country that likes to tout false equivalency, that every man in here is equal. But yet we standing out here today outside the African American History Museum begging for Congress to pass the For the People Act and the John Lewis Voting Rights Act. So when we reflect on what's happening today, what's really different from 1965? So I'm from Memphis, Tennessee, the home base of the Civil Rights Movement, the city where Dr. King was assassinated. We have one of the largest populations of African Americans in this country, in my city. We are literally living proof of what systemic racism and its systemic injustices look like. Our state is run by the Republican Party of obstruction, who are downright bold about making the election process harder for minorities and urban communities. And just this past year, they passed legislation into law that erases history so our babies won't even know who fought for their right to vote. That's what's happening in my state. So I asked myself, what are they scared of?
Right.
What they scared of?
Right.
They scared of you?
They scared of you.
They scared of us. They scared of us. They're scared of our voice. They're scared of our vote. And they're scared of losing power.
Yeah. That's right.
You know, here in Tennessee, over a decade ago, they passed voter ID laws.
They sure did.
They purged black people from the voting
Yes,
rolls.
they did.
You gotta register to vote 30 days before the election to even vote.
Ridiculous.
They're not gonna do the right thing. But we must ask Congress to do the right thing for states like
That's
mine.
right.
I can't depend on them to
Do
do the
your
right thing.
job.
I can't depend on them to respect my ancestors for dying for the right to vote.
That's right.
That's right.
We need the For the People Act and the John Lewis Voting Rights Act to do the right thing for Tennessee. You know, as I'm standing here on DC, I remember January 6th. I remember sitting in my office at the state capitol in Tennessee watching live white supremacists attack the U.S. Capitol
Well,
to destroy the election.
well.
They didn't care about nobody's vote.
Nope.
They weren't scared of getting shot down in the street like we are.
Nope.
They weren't scared.
That's right.
They're tourists. And I was outraged sitting there
Yes.
in my own state capitol thinking, am I next?
Yes.
But for me, what's even more outrageous is the fact we got Democratic senators who claim to honor John Lewis, but can't even vote on legislation that embodies his work. What's the point of putting allies in office if you can't stand for the values that we push? Senator Manchin, Senator Seminole, I'm calling you out. Do the right thing. What's the point of you being a Democrat? You can't pass simple voting rights legislation.
Yes.
And to my senators, Marsha Blackburn and Bill Haggerty, I'm expecting you to do right by Tennessee. Be a better person. Pass the For the People Act. Be on the right side of justice.
Right.
You have one of the largest populations of black people in your state, and you can't make sure we have equitable voting rights.
Yeah.
Enough is enough, America. We are tired. We've been fighting since we got to this country over 400 years ago. We are tired. At this point, we're expecting you to do the right thing. We're demanding you to do the right thing. Recess can wait.
Yes.
So let's get it done and get it done right now. Thank you.
Recess can wait. Recess can wait. All right. Y'all, I'd be remiss. We've mentioned about how President Biden has the power that he needs and how the Senate has the power it needs. As y'all know, the reason they have that power in the Senate is because of the great state of Georgia. And so I'm so glad to bring up my friend who helped me out yesterday, Representative Donna McLeod from the great state of Georgia.
Big up! For those of you who don't know, I am a Jamaican-born, Canadian raised, and became a citizen in 2012 because of the most powerful right to vote. And that's why we're fighting for it. I want to just acknowledge my colleagues that are here with me. Becky Evans, Josh McLaurin, Rhonda Taylor. I think that's the four of us that are here. But there's quite a large delegation from the state of Georgia. So let me tell you something. We got out the gates, right? We gave Texas the warning. Be aware, Georgia just passed some egregious bill. So we gave Texas the warning.
Yes.
Let me tell you something. Our bill started, okay, in the House, we passed on HB 581. It passed out the House, then the Senate started. They started with a bill, we didn't know what it was. It started on Wednesday. The next week, on the next Wednesday was the first time we saw the text. It was passed into law that Thursday, the next Thursday. 98 pages. And I know a lot of people talk about the water and the voter ID, But what about the subversion, right?
Right.
So even if your vote is counted,
That's right.
what Trump asked for from our Secretary of State,
That's right.
Ratzenberger, he could basically do it by going to every county and subverting our votes. It is unacceptable that we, especially as black people, who fought so hard to get the right to vote, to be in this position in 2021. It's unacceptable. No recess. The right to vote is the most powerful right we have in this country. Knowledge is power, but that right we give to each other is the vote. And I'm asking you all to keep on fighting because we cannot stop. We cannot stop. You can't recess without our democracy. Our democracy is at stake. And I'm telling you, Georgia is on the mind of everybody. And yes, Mr. Senator Manchin, if it wasn't for Georgia, you wouldn't be holding this power because you wouldn't have the majority to act like you're the biggest man on campus. It is time for us to step up, as Democrats in the Congress and say, we are grateful for the people that organized, outworked, and make sure our kids and our family got to the polls. It is time for us to show some appreciation and making sure that we get the right to vote free. And again, I became a citizen of this country. I paid $680 and took the test and read the Constitution. For me, it's personal because that was the only right wasn't given with the green card. So knowledge is the most powerful gift you give to yourself, but the vote is the most powerful thing we give to each other. Let's get it together and get this happening. Thank you very much.
That's right. Sister Donna McLeod. Fired up. Cori Bush took a stand. Who said, I'm not just a legislator, but I'm an activist, and she took a stand, and because of her work, in 4 days, millions of people that were facing possible eviction have now been spared. Millions of people who are facing the end of this eviction moratorium have now received a little reprieve, right? All of that because one elected official decided to take a stand. That's right. And so that's why it's so important that we have elected officials that are willing to do so. And without any further ado, I am so glad, I'm so honored that we have been joined by none other than Reverend Jackson, who is still in the fight, fighting for our voting rights.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning.
Good morning.
Today we march to the White House to get the president's attention. Unfortunately, in the case of Joe Biden, have an ally, but we need to put pressure on him. Some time ago, he talked about how he put Randolph and Lee met with President Roosevelt. Then on the agenda, he said, Roosevelt said, "Go out and make me do it." Create the environment where it's feasible for me to do it. Remember Joe Manchin yesterday about how Republicans taking over West Virginia. We need to go to West Virginia and make him do it. One thing we need to do, the Republican scheme make difficult voting, then decertify. That's what Arizona was all about. It's going to be difficult to vote, and they're going to decertify votes. Say in the scheme, make voting difficult, and then decertify votes. Must not let them decertify votes.
Must not let them decertify our votes.
Now, the good news is that those who are chairman today depend upon the success of our movement.
That's right.
See, if we win, democracy wins.
Democracy wins.
Democrats win.
Democrats
The
win.
nation wins.
Nation
If
wins.
we lose, Democrats lose.
Democrats
If we lose, democracy loses.
Democracy
We lose, America loses.
America loses.
So all the chairmen should be out here marching with us. That's right. Because they're chairman because of our work. That's right. We made them chairman, right? So now I want to stand tall and make our case today in front of the White House. We've done it in Arizona 2 weeks ago. We did it in Washington, Austin, Texas. We're doing it here again today. So we're going to keep on marching.
That's right.
We'll keep marching.
That's right.
Yes.
Justice done.
Yes.
Well, the power of one person, not about Cori Bush, was tremendous work.
Yes. Zero.
When Dr. King spoke in Washington in 1963, One black official across the whole South. One black official in the whole South. So one black official.
One black
In
official.
the whole South.
In the whole South.
They have mayors in Birmingham and Selma and Montgomery and Dallas and Houston, all that. One. What Leroy Johnson did was, he the one got Ali back in the ring. Ali went to 55 cities and states trying to get him back in the ring. They wouldn't let him back in. One guy, Governor Maddox, Axel Maddox, a very racist guy, his son got in trouble. His case was, he made for his son was, every man deserves a second chance. Johnson supported that. He went to him and said, now, I would really need a second chance. Ali. Man said, I'm for it, but I think the right way would be the Klan will eat me up. He said, well, you take a principal position. Man took it in the right way and came at him. So he backed away from his position. But when Sanders came in and joined with the lawsuit and got Ali back in, then they wouldn't let him do his health care, his practice to qualify. And Morehouse gave him a stage to do this training. So one man, one person, make a difference. One Rosa Parks, sat in. One Rosa Parks, sat in. Nation stood up. Tory Brooks, stood up. Now, 11 million people. 6 million families have a place to stay. Say I am. Somebody. Look at me. I am. Somebody. Respect me. Protect me. Never neglect me. I am God's child. Stop the violence. Save the children. Stop the violence. Save the children. I will vote. I can vote. I must vote. I will vote. I can vote. I must vote. My citizenship is at stake. Those kids coming back today from Japan, sitting on the stand, getting the gold medals and all that, come back to a nation that does not want their parents to vote.
Well,
This year we must focus on college residency. College residency. If you're from University of Maryland, for example, you're from, say, New York, you have the right to vote where you live. Students have the right to vote where they attend school. Some of these districts are headed by right-wingers who represent colleges, don't represent students' interests. So every student has the right to register where they attend school. Key at our strategy must be say, student registration on campus. Registration on campus. Do it all. Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive. Love you. Keep hope alive. Love you guys. Love you.
Yo, give it up for the Reverend Jackson!
No, Mike.
Hello. When Carter was fighting with Maxine Waters, that was Maxine's legislation. Give Maxine a big hand.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you once again, y'all. Please give it up for the Reverend Jackson. Still out here speaking, still out here fighting, still out here getting arrested like the other day. So y'all give it up. Y'all fired up. Fired up. Ready to go. Fired up. Ready to go. Fired up. Ready to go. So we are going to make our way over to this corner, and we are going to follow the directions of our marshals, right? Follow the directions of our marshals. We're going to, I believe we're going to be in the street. And so if I can get our banner holders that are holding the banner to lead the way, and if everybody can start lining up behind them. Yes, sir.
Hello. We should march in threes and 6 feet apart. So we believe in vaccination. Vaccination. Elimination. Believe in vaccination. So we're on the protocol, but wearing our masks. We got mine here. So wear our masks. Line up in threes. 6 feet apart.